Well, it has been called one of the most highly anticipated books of the holiday season. But enough about killing Kennedy. What can we expect from Greg Gutfeld's new book? It's called The Joy of Hate: How to Triumph Over Whiners in the Age of Phony Outrage, and it hits bookstores everywhere later today. Or you can just hang around till next week and probably find it at a yard sale. Since Greg can't interview himself, we are switching roles. Greg, let me ask you, who invites someone on their show to interview them about their own book?
Well, you know, I was in a tough position, Lauren, because the best person to interview me would be me. But I was busy over here, so I needed to find somebody that, frankly, I'm not intimidated by and probably needed the work. And as you know, you're kind of been hanging around here a while, so I figured, why not give you a shot? You have a little history. I know it's awkward between us because of those things that happened a few years back, but I thought maybe we could bury the hatchet here, and you could probably give a pretty good interview.
I'm realizing the joy of hate right at this moment.
Yes.
It's amazing. It's very liberating. All right, so what makes you think that people will buy this book as opposed to the 4 others you've written?
Well, because this book actually matters. In this book, I talk about what I call the tolerotic, which is the person who claims to be tolerant but really isn't. It's somebody who claims to be compassionate until they meet somebody they disagree with. They travel in packs, which I call the tolerati. Examples of the tolerati are the Bloods, the Crips, the Manson family, HuffPo bloggers.
So you explain in the book, this tolerati you speak of, that nothing offends you more than people who are always offended.
Yes. It's impossible to be angry all the time. Unfortunately, thanks to the web, especially because people are in front of their computers all the time and they actually read comments on various blogs, they get angry, and it's not good. It's like constantly working out. You should only be angry 3 to 4 times a week at 45-minute intervals, just like working out. But if you are angry constantly, it's like over-exercise. You wear out your anger muscles, and then you end up probably killing people.
Oh, I've been doing this all wrong.
I told you.
You also mention fat kids in the book. You say we should cut them a break. Why is that?
Fat kids have become large targets, and that is a pun, by the tolerant who claim that they're doing something good. When in fact they're passing this kind of weird judgment on kids because they're eating more than the adults are. They actually feel bad and angry that kids get to enjoy fattening foods, so they're saying you can't have it. However, if you talk to any celebrity, you will find that they will tell you, I was once fat. So, actually, being a fat kid always leads to success. A lot of supermodels will say, I was fat or I was ugly. So that means basically all fat people will grow up to be supermodels.
Or TV hosts?
Or TV hosts. I wasn't fat as a kid. Part of my body was fat, but I had that surgically altered. Oh,
wow, you look lovely today.
Thank you.
A nice book cover, by the way. It's clearly the airbrush team was at work.
Yes,
here.
I call this my constipated Pierce Brosnan look.
Very sexy.
Don't you like it?
Very sexy.
Yes.
You make up a lot of your own terms in this book. Can you explain what you called bad taste blind spot disorder?
This happens to everybody. It's like you. For example, let's say you are hanging out with your friends in LA and you're like, watching TV and you're making fun of people and you're saying sick jokes, and then all of a sudden you go on Twitter and you tweet one of those things you said, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, that's not funny, that's disgusting. That's blind spot taste disorder, because what happens is you are surrounded by people who agree with you and you don't realize what you're about to say might actually piss off a lot of people. This happens a lot among comedians who are drunk on airplanes. And then they end up tweeting, they're like, and they'll use the C word, or they'll use any word, because they haven't been around the rest of America, so they have a blind spot about the things they can say. It's why you can have a comedian making fun of like Sarah Palin's kids and think it's funny until they say it in front of a large group and then they have to apologize.
Well, you obviously have a lot of solutions in this book.
I do.
It's a how-to almost on how to triumph over outrage.
Yes.
How can we all learn how to triumph over it?
I have this thing called the mirror jerk effect, which is if somebody bothers you, you have to ask yourself if it was in the reverse. Let's say Bill Maher says something about somebody that I like, and I get mad. Well, what if it was Rush Limbaugh saying it about somebody I don't like? Would I get mad? No. So therefore, it's not worth getting mad.
You don't think it's a fair playing field when it comes to the outrage?
Yeah. Well, no, the left have been outrageous longer than the right, but the right are catching up. The whole point is you shouldn't be outrageous because you're going to break something. It's like life is fun. You're supposed to be out having fun with people. Andrew Breitbart always used to say when he was faced by somebody who was mad, he'd say "so," and that's what you got to do. You always have to say "so."
You dedicated the book to Andrew Breitbart.
That is true because we often talked about these things together when we were getting very drunk, and so, yeah, dedicated to him. Not to you, Lauren. I would never dedicate anything to you.
Not even mentioned in the book.
I'm not.
So
you know
weird.
what? I went out of my way to thank everybody at Fox News but you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Greg. I hope you sell a lot of these. The Joy of Hate, out today. It's time to take a break.